to the Oklahoma County Candidate Forum for Chairman and Vice Chairman. Tonight, Leslie Nesmith, Vince Scopus, and I, my name is Mick Rosato, are your hosts for this event. We are part of the OKGOP Action Team, and in conjunction with my weekly broadcast, the Conservative Continuum, we are putting this event on, and we are grateful that you are here, truly. Oklahoma County Republicans have come together. We've gathered to listen to and engage with those who are running for our county chairman and vice chairman position, and it is good that we are here. We are live streaming this forum right now to the Conservative Continuum, so if anybody wishes to view this later or share this with any other Oklahoma County Republican, please feel free to do that. It will go out on other social media. In case you're not on Facebook, it'll go out on Rumble and Truth so that you can share. And so we want to get information out and be engaged, as I know you all do too. I would like to take a few moments really quick just to review the format with you so that it will be easier for you to follow along in our presentation, if you don't mind. First of all, we're going to present our 4 candidates in a forum style. Each candidate will be given 2 minutes to give an introduction about themselves. Then, during the forum, each candidate will answer 6 questions in a rotating manner, and we're going to go by position. So the chairs will answer first, and then the vice chairs in a rotating manner throughout the forum. And then each of them will have 2 minutes to answer the question, and that is going to be kept on time by our timekeeper out here, who will notify them when they're a minute, a half a minute, and then when it ends. Now, due to time constraints, there will not be an opportunity to do a rebuttal during the forum. However, each candidate will have 3 minutes at the end to be able to make closing statements or address any issues that they would like to talk about, or if they wanted to follow up on a particular question. At the conclusion of the forum, we will have a question and answer session. Each of you had an opportunity to fill out a questionnaire at the back where you could ask the candidate a question. That question would need to be asked by all the candidates on the panel, and we do have someone who is back in the back monitoring the live stream in case anybody out there is sending questions in the comments section. And we will get to as many questions as we possibly can, but each candidate will have 2 minutes to answer those questions as well. Once again, those questions need to be able to be asked of all the candidates, please. We do ask that if you submit a question that you are from Oklahoma County, as that is who the next chair and vice chair will be representing. It is important for us to know, or let you all know, that none of the forum questions were presented to the candidates prior to them hearing this tonight. And also, we ask that you please silence your phone, hold all applause or any reactions until we have the conclusion of our forum. Thank you so much for being with us. I do want to introduce our candidates to you this evening. First of all, we have Ken Warner. He is the incumbent chair of Oklahoma County. We also have Chris Martin, who is running for Oklahoma County Chair. We have Kathy Connor, who is running for Oklahoma County Vice Chair. And we have Jake Strother, who is running for Oklahoma County Vice Chair. Thank you all for being with us. Okay, we're going to start out with the first question. The first question I am going to ask to Chris. We'll start out with you, sir, okay? Why are you running for Oklahoma County Chairman, and what makes you uniquely qualified? And I will ask for the vice chairman, just switch that where it says county chairman, county vice chairman. Thank you, sir. You have 2 minutes.
Thank you, Mick, and thank you to the Oklahoma GOP Action Team and the Conservative Continuum for holding this important forum. I got into this county and I see we are losing ground. We're losing ground in the middle of Oklahoma County. We have some areas where we just don't have a whole lot of Republicans. And I see where we've got a bunch of name calling going on, and we've got a bunch of strife within ourselves that is not helping us reach out, and not helping us portray our message correctly. I'm looking to change that. I want to work with everybody. There is not an idea in this room that is invalid. There is not an idea that shouldn't be debated among Republicans and shouldn't be taken seriously. There's 170,000 Republicans in this county. We have a very small select group that are debating these problems and debating our issues. And we need to expand our reach. We need to expand everything that we do so we can get the best ideas, the best solutions to run the best county government that we can possibly elect and get our Republican voters out to the polls and make sure that happens. Thank you.
Ken, same question. Why are you running for Oklahoma County Chairman, and what makes you uniquely qualified?
Well, number one, I am the incumbent, and we've had a great 2 years, and we'd like to have another great 2 years, as a matter of fact. We've done a lot. We've done a lot in the county. We've done outreach. I see Cam out there. We've reached out to the Hispanic community. We've reached out to the Asian community. We've reached out to the Black community, and we will continue to do so on a regular basis. That's one of the things that we've really tried hard to do in this cycle anyway, and we'll continue to do that. That's important. And we want to continue. We've had a number of large meetings in the last 2 years on precinct training, obviously redistricting, which was not a whole lot of fun for those of you that have ever had to go through that, but that's what we did. So we have new districts, we have new precincts, we have new precinct chairs. We just got through going through precincts and precinct training. I have a slate of officers that will be presented. Thank you. And it's a good slate. They have a lot of experience. We've done a lot. We've raised a ton of money for this county. We've raised more money for candidates than anybody has in a long time. We'll continue to do so. That's our job. Our job is to elect candidates, the best candidates in Oklahoma County, and get rid of the blue and get rid of the purple and keep us completely red.
Okay. Jake, we're going to ask you to start off as the vice chair. Why are you running for Oklahoma County Vice Chairman, and what makes you uniquely qualified?
Well, first I want to thank everyone for being here tonight. It is just truly honoring to see everyone come out and support this party. I'm running to connect the party with the people. There's a disconnect between the party and the people of Oklahoma County. We have seen our numbers and percentages go down in election results. In 2016, our nominee for president won this county by 11%. In 2020, our nominee for president won this county by 1%. I don't know about you, but I think that's the wrong direction. We need to get this county back on track, and this is a messaging problem, I believe. It's a boots on the ground problem, and that's what uniquely qualifies me. I've been working for candidates over the past few years, making sure we flip these seats red and we keep Republicans in these offices and fight back against the liberal leftist Democrats who are infiltrating our county and bringing their liberal ideologies.
Kathy. I'm Kathy Connor, and I have about 3 years ago decided to get off the couch. My children were big enough to take care of themselves, and so I decided that I needed to do something. The country was going in the wrong direction, and I had skills that were very usable. So I went and knocked on the door of the GOP county. Since that time, I basically said to Ken, I've got skills. I'm a previous business owner. I'm retired, but I know what we can do to help put some basement things in the county. We need to have some management, some money, and some marketing, and that comes from my background as business. So when we went over the vacancies that were available in the county, we decided that my skills would be best used with the Lincoln Reagan, which was where we bring the money in. And in order to actually make changes in the county, and I agree with what everyone has said, we need changes. We have got to pull together in a lot of different ways, but we also have to stand up, and we've got to get off the couch like I did, and we've got to help out. We've got to get our neighbors out. We've got to get our church-going friends out. And so what I did was start joining different groups of women. I'm very active in the Oklahoma City Republican Women's Group, and the women are very strong and very knowledgeable. We spend a lot of time reviewing bills, going to outreach, trying to find ways that we can get involved in the education. And as mothers and wives, those are all very important things in the county. So, thank you.
Thank you all so much. Ken, I would like to start with you on this question. How would you assure that the county office is staffed and run effectively?
Well, number one, which is proposed already right now, is that we're going to staff the office, one, with a volunteer who will be a part-time paid staff person, which will help out. We will continue to recruit volunteers as we have in the past. We have forms. We recruit at the state fair. We recruit at the Chili Challenge. We recruit at every event that we put on. We're obviously about recruiting. Sometimes people don't understand how important it is that you have to have people sign up to continue to recruit our candidates and recruit our volunteers. Our volunteers are absolutely essential to our existence. In order to knock doors, and we're going to build an army here that's not been built before. That's what we're trying to do right now with our precincts, with our chairs and vice chairs. There'll be some changes in how we do some of that, and that's for another time, because we don't have time for me to explain it all. But nonetheless, we're very active with our precincts, and we'll continue to be that way. We will continue to find volunteers. We will continue to find candidates. It's our biggest thing, is to find the right candidates. That'll help us take back those seats that we have not been able to capture in the past and keep us as red a county as we can. But Donald Trump believes that this county is the reddest county in the United States, by the way.
Thank you. Chris, do you need me to repeat the question?
No.
Okay.
Staffing of our office is extremely important. I agree with Ken. We need somebody in there. I would like to actually see somebody in there full-time, 8 hours a day. They can answer the phones, can do data entry, and can do some of the administrative things that are essential for a county this big to operate. Not knowing exactly where the budget is, we'll have to look at those issues as they come up. Volunteers are extremely important, and I know I have been to all the women's Republican clubs in the county over the last month. We have a tremendous resource of women that want to be involved, that are passionate about electing Republicans and have energy and have time and know how to get things done. We need to make sure that we utilize them and get them fully integrated into what we're doing with the county party. We have to get young people involved. You know, Jake's a young guy. I'm not so young a guy. Ken's not so young a guy. I will not ask the lady where she stands on that. We have got to get the youth. into this party. That is going to be essential going forward, and to make sure that they know our values and can help us out.
Kathy, do you need me to repeat the question?
Yeah, would you?
You bet. How would you assure that the county office is staffed and run effectively?
Well, being from a business background, I realized early on that I was not a very good CEO if I didn't have a good secretary. And those are mandatory positions for anyone in an executive position. And whether or not you know it, I mean, I've been working on the leadership of the county, the executive committee of the county for 2 years, 2.5 years. I'm on the leadership for the Oklahoma City Republican Women's Club. We all have got to have those staff people to follow up, because we can make all the plans in the world, but the follow-through is what makes it happen. And I agree, the infrastructure is not there to keep data, to make appointments, to just follow up and help Ken get things done. So it's mandatory.
Do you need me to repeat the question, Jay?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
Anytime someone calls the Oklahoma County GOP, someone should answer that call. We are the party of action, not ones that are going to ignore our constituents, ignore our people. I believe I'd love to see paid staff. That's depending on our monetary ability, but I'd love to see a paid staff member be able to answer that phone call. And if not, if you call a congressional office, most of the time, who will answer? A college student. So I believe if we can offer these college students the ability to get involved, maybe some college credit, we can get them to our office to answer these calls. Thank you.
Thank you. Just want to make sure everybody's comfortable in the room. Do I need to open the door? Okay. All right, as long as everybody's comfortable. Okay. Chris, we're going to go back to you for this one, sir. Do you believe that there are Republicans in name only? And if so, what would you do to eliminate those persons from the GOP?
No, they're not Republicans in name only. We're Republicans. We believe in the same things. This is what I was talking about with the name calling. You know, we may not agree on how we want to get somewhere, but we all agree on the destination. It's a matter of means and methods on how we get there. There is no idea in this party that can't be debated. We can't have, 10, 12, 14, 18 people deciding what a Republican is. Who am I to tell you or you what a Republican is? I have my ideas. You have yours, you have yours, you have yours. It's not my place. 170,000 registered Republicans in this county tell us what Republicans are. These are the people that vote in our primaries. These are the people that give the money, that help the candidates, and that get out and knock the doors. If you tell them that they're not Republican enough, you've just shut them completely off. We have to stop that. And it happens on the other side too. There's people that don't like how conservative some ideas are. And it just has to stop. There's no idea in this party that is not valid.
Ken, do you need me to repeat the question?
No, I got it.
Okay.
First of all, we have a guidebook, which are our principles. And that's one of the things that we stand on very hard in this county and in this administration. And for example, any candidate who ran for office has been in either my office or in our office with all of us, Kathy and others, which we have vetted, and we vet them thoroughly. This is not a game. You have to adhere to those principles, or we're not going to give you money as a candidate. You can still run. We're not going to make fun of you and call you names or do any of that. It just means you're not going to get any money from us because you're not following what we've laid out as guidelines. And it's not just us that laid out these guidelines. These guidelines have been laid out by everybody in this room over time. See Charlie Potts back there and others. So this is not something that we take very lightly. We take it very much so. When we vet these candidates, we gave $70,000 to candidates in the county this year. We raised that money through Lincoln Reagan dinners, gun shows, state fair. I've spent 110 hours at the state fair selling merchandise, one cap at a time. So we take what we do very seriously, and we're very serious about our candidates. We want unity as bad as anybody else does. But there's not unity in this, and some of that's because we have different views. Some of us are more conservative than others. I'm not a go-along, get-along guy. I'm a stand-up, speak-up, whatever guy, and I'll stand up for this county and stand up for this party like I have the last 2 years. We're not backing down. We are Republicans, and I agree with Chris. And our goal is to stay Republicans and vote Republican, and we've got to get more people out to vote. But we're going to have differing ideas, and we're going to have some battles, and that's just the way it is. A lot of you don't agree with some of you don't agree with Trump, some of you like DeSantis, some of you like different Republicans, and that's fine. And that's why we're Republicans, and that's why we have meetings like this, so we can have open dialogue and debate and talk about what's important to us as a county. And it's important to us that we have the right candidates. Thank you.
Do you need me to repeat the question, Jane?
No, I'm okay. I will be the candidate that says I will never advocate for the removal of someone from this party. That's not how we win elections. I am tired of losing elections in Oklahoma County because Republicans can't unite and we can't all find common ground. When you agree with someone 75% of the time, they're your friend, not your enemy. We lost the Oklahoma County DA's race in this way when we won every other county race in the 2022 cycle. I will not remove anyone because that's not how you win elections.
Do you need me to repeat the
We're
question?
talking about rhinos, right?
Yes, do you believe there are Republicans in name only? And if so, what would you do to eliminate those persons from the GOP?
Yes, I do believe there are. And I think we have had a lot of evidence recently of the fact that we have people running in this, or that not running, already elected in this county, that are not following the let's get together deal. Okay, we're not getting together when they don't show up at the largest county, voting county in the state, their primary fundraiser that takes care of the things that everyone's talking about, that we've got to have staff in the office, yes, but we have to have money to put the staff in the office. If we want to build a database, it's not free, all right? So we're not working together. That is a problem. There's no doubt about it. And there are Republicans that are fighting this county. You know, how do we get them together? Well, that's a really good question, and I think we all need to really address that for the future.
Okay, Ken, we're going to come back to you for this one. What are your thoughts on the best ways to vet potential candidates and get the resulting information out to the public?
Well, number one is that we have a candidate, one of the things that we have as part of our county administration is we have a candidate committee. And they're charged with finding candidates, and once we find them, then we vet them. And the brochure that's out there is one of the things that we use to vet them with, and it's important because they have to follow those for us to carry on with them. Some don't like the vetting process, and they don't show up. The ones that do, we help out, without a doubt. And we've certainly helped out Donna Rice Johnson and others that are in this room with money that we were able to put into their campaigns. We'd love to do it, and that's why we do the Lincoln Reagan dinners and the other things that we talked about. And so we want to vet them hard because we've had people, I don't want to call names, but we've certainly had people that were Democrats that changed to the Republican Party so they could hopefully get elected. We all know that's happened. Happened at the governor's race before, and we've been down this road. So we want to carefully vet our candidates, and we want to be sure that they are who they say they are. And that's one of the things that we'll do. This county's too important, way too important, and it's why we raise the money we raise, so we can find those kind of candidates that we want to help us win these races.
Chris, do you need me to repeat?
No, I've got it.
Yes, sir.
We have a vetting process. It's called a primary. I am going to get the candidates in this county that have declared that they want to run for office, I want to get them in front of you. Not in front of me, not in front of a committee. I want to get them in front of you. I want you guys to ask them questions. I want you to tell them what you think is important. I want to put it on Facebook. I want to put it on YouTube. I want to put it on Rumble. I want to put it on Twitter. I want to put it on Truth Social. And Mick, you're going to be real busy having content for your page. And thank you again for doing this. That is how we determine a candidate is vetted. I'm not going to sit here and put my thumb on the scale and tell people in House District 36 what kind of Republicans they have to be. I'm going to let the people of House District 36 decide that. I'm going to get their candidates in front of them. I'm going to make sure we have a candidate in every race. I'm going to make sure that Democrats lose every seat. Because I can go into the Capitol, and if I don't run somebody down, I can go into the Capitol and I can talk to them. I can reason with them. I can't reason with a Democrat. There ain't anybody in this room who can reason with a Democrat.
That's good. Kathy, do you need me to repeat the question?
No. We've tried really hard to strengthen the vetting program because even though that's ideal, the way that Chris describes it, it's not real. And the reason that that's the case is because most people don't do the vetting. You can bring, we have a candidate. In fact, the Women's Club has a candidate forum. We had a candidate circus in June. We had a candidate forum in October, a chili cook-off, so that people could come and ask the hard questions to all of their officials that were running. But what happens is they don't know what to ask, or they're too timid to ask, or, but the vetting doesn't get done that way. It would be perfect, right? But it doesn't. So what happens is, and it probably happens to everybody in this room, is that I get about 10 calls on election day that says, who are you going to vote for? Who should I vote for? They're counting on us. So that's my answer to vetting. We have to do it.
Well, with vetting, we are going to have our candidates come to forums, we're going to have them come to debates, and we're going to share their information to the pages. But I believe the people of Oklahoma County, everyone out in this audience, is smarter than any committee and any decision I can come to. I will not push for any candidate through the party before we have a nominee. I will support the Republican nominee in all the races we have in Oklahoma County.
And I just realized I didn't do their 2-minute intro. So we'll just do 5 minutes at the end. Okay.
I didn't make a 5-minute speech.
I know, right? I know. Okay, so we'll continue on with questions, but we will have an ending time. Chris, this is to start with you. Do you support proxy voting in the OKGOP? Please explain why or why not.
I'm very torn on this issue. I have Vince Scotus is out here in the crowd, and we had a very long email conversation about these issues. I can see good and bad on both sides of this. I don't know where I'm going to come down yet. I have some thoughts that some rural counties may have some problems getting to the state committee meeting. I don't like them. I think people ought to be in the room. I think it's the right way to do that. Sometimes life gets in the way, and we have business at the state party and business at the county party that has to be attended to. Sometimes that is something necessary that has to happen. in anything that I look at, the first thing I do is I look at how people that are against me are going to use it, are going to use the rule against me. You've got to do that kind of thought. Hey, we're going to do this, but what happens next? What happens after that? How is this going to affect what happens in the ring? I haven't made my mind up. I'm still going through it. I can see good and bad both sides, but it does need to change. It's not fair as it is right now.
Ken, do you need me to repeat the question? Okay.
Chris and I both been to enough state committee meetings that we know about proxies. I'm against them, and I'm a little like Chris in the sense I think there could be times and places when they're appropriate, but 99% of the time they're not. And here's one of the reasons why. Sometimes we have people who go to the state capitol and they go to every door they can get, let me have your proxy, let me have your proxy, let me have your proxy, let me have your proxy. Well, there's nothing fair about that. Nothing fair at all. It should be, if you are a candidate, if you are Eric Roberts, I'm just going to use Eric's name, because he comes to the committee meetings usually. If you have a reason to give a proxy when you're a state representative or senator, that's fine, we can deal with that. But the fact that I'm out there begging you, just because I don't want to go to the meeting, I don't want my name thrown out there, I don't want to be seen and be anti-anything, and that's why they do proxies a lot of the times. They don't do them because of the right thing to do. And that's what Chris is a little bit talking about, and I feel the same way. It's just, they're not a good thing, and it's too easy to, I'm sorry to say this, because it's too easy to cheat. We've seen them do it at committee meetings where they brought a laptop in and a printer and got proxies, printed them, and handed them in. We're not going to allow that. So, no, I'm not for proxies.
Jake, do you need me to repeat the question, sir?
No, I'm okay.
Okay.
I think the best ideas happen when we're all in the room debating them together. I think that's what democracy is about, when we're all in the same place talking to each other about the issues. I do and would support proxy voting in certain cases, like we were talking. I do think it is a legitimate form of voting, but I would prefer and will always advocate for everyone to be in the room talking together and making this party better.
Well, I come from a different view on proxies. First of all, proxies should be a legal document. Everywhere I've ever dealt with proxies in business, they've had to be validated. They usually have a 3-day waiting period or maybe 5 so they can be checked out before they're actually used. But doing proxies in the back of the room and making copies of them during an election is not the right way to use a proxy. So when you're illegally using them, I'm against them. But if you follow the rules with a proxy, it's just a legal way to make a vote. And I don't have a problem with it.
Okay. Can I just ask one follow-up question? And I certainly don't want to put anybody on the spot. But if you were to learn that the majority of counties preferred completely eliminating proxies, would that change your position? Anybody? We'll start with you, Chris, because I think you started out with the questions.
Yeah, and that very well may be the case, that the majority of counties are going to want to do that. And we're going to have this out at the state convention, and we're going to let all the counties decide. And whatever the rule comes out at the state convention, I can live with that.
Ken, did you have anything to add?
I pretty much feel the same way. I mean, it's going to get decided at state convention, which is where it needs to be decided. And I realize if you're in Beaver County or you live way out there, it's a little tougher to get to Oklahoma City, just like it'll be tougher to go to the convention in Tulsa as it comes up. So it's hard for those smaller counties, but nonetheless, proxies need to be eliminated. And because I'm kind of like Kathy, they need to be much more of a legal document than they are today, and that's just the way it needs to be. Otherwise, we don't need it.
Jake, did you want to?
We'll let the people decide, and I will keep my view, but the rules will be the rules on how we decide on them at state convention.
Kathy?
I don't think I have anything to add to that.
Okay.
Okay, I am going to ask you this one, Ken. This will be our last forum question, and then we will have closing statements. Ken, what do you think defines a grassroots candidate, and do you believe that you are such a candidate?
Well, one, yes, I do. But to answer your question, what defines a grassroots candidate to me is somebody who's willing to stand up for what they believe in. They stand up for the Constitution as it was written, and it needs to be adhered that way. It needs to be identified that way. They stand up for the principles that we've laid out in that booklet, in that pamphlet. There's somebody who's not a go-along to get-along guy or girl or woman, is that they will stand up for themselves and do their own beliefs and vote for the right candidates. It's not a matter of, oh gosh, this person's a friend of mine and they're voting for so-and-so, and so that makes sense to me, so I'm just going to go along with that. Well, I don't work that way. A candidate has to earn the right to be elected. They have to earn the right to be in this party. They have to earn the right to be a candidate. And if they're not, they shouldn't be a candidate. And that's the way we have to stand. And again, like I said before, I'm somebody who stands up. I speak up. We've done many things. I've taken on mayors and metropolitan libraries and other things with press releases, because I believe in the United States of America, and I believe what we stand for. And one of the reasons I do what I do is for this country and darn sure for this county. But that's exactly because I'm defending this country on behalf of my grandchildren and someday my great-grandchildren. And that's how I believe, and I will never let down. And I took an oath a lot of years ago to stand up for this country against foreign and domestic enemies, and I will not back down from that statement today or tomorrow or any other day. I'm a veteran of the United States Army, and I stand by what I pledged. Thank you.
Do you need it?
No.
Okay.
Grassroots is an interesting word. All grass has roots. Sometimes the roots are deep and they're set in solid soil, and sometimes they're set in sand. When we started, when Ken started, we have gained 17,153 registered Republicans for 170,577 total. Of those 17,000, 6,687 of them have voted since the elections in 22. That's not a whole lot of the people we registered that got out to vote. Now, the only metric I could find was 2019. Total gain in registered Republicans since 2019 in this county is 983. We registered 17,000. We only gained 983 since 2019. We're losing ground, folks. And we got to stop. And calling people names isn't going to get us there.
Okay, to me, grassroots is the power in the country. You know, we start at the bottom, and if we don't take the power that's given to us, okay, we will never be able to make changes at the top. So, and we've seen that throughout the years. I think that one of the reasons that we are, and I don't agree with Chris's numbers, but that we are not gaining ground is that we have not done anything that we can do, or I should say we haven't done a lot of what we can do to grow the precincts. The precincts are where the power is. And if we don't use those and we don't get out and get those full of chairmen and get them trained, and let those people become educated voters and move up, then we're missing a big boat, because to me, that's where the grassroots are. It starts there, and that is where the power to the people, has to move from.
Grassroots are we the people. We will choose our candidates, and I am a grassroots candidate. Non-grassroots candidates are candidates that are supported by dark money, special interests, and the party. We, the people, choose our nominees and what a Republican is, not anyone else. It is up to the voters, and that's what the grassroots are. Thank you.
That concludes our portion of the forum. So one of the things that I love about the Republican Party is that it is full of grace and mercy. And I eliminated the intro because, squirrel. So what I'm going to do is, thank you, sir. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give 4 minutes to each candidate to discuss with us whatever they would like to talk about, who they are, why they're here, address anything that they heard in questions, whatever they would like to tell us. I'd like to go ahead and we'll start with Ken, since you're the incumbent, and we'll go from there. 4 minutes, please.
Okay.
Oh, before we start, did anybody have any questions? If you do, please hand them to Vince Scopus as he's walking around, so that we can.
That's called the balking, that's right. That's right.
I'm sorry, it's called what?
It's called the balking baseball.
Oh, okay.
And I want to talk about a couple of things. There's been plenty of things said about primaries and do we give money in primaries? Do we not give money in primaries? Do we endorse in primaries? Do we not endorse in primaries? And there's been a lot of confusion in that very arena. Number one, for example, our state auditor, Cindy Byrd, okay? She was in a general election in the middle of a primary. And a dark money group, thank you, Jake, for mentioning that. There's a dark money group out there that spent $4 to $5 million trying to defeat our auditor, Cindy Byrd. So we, as a collective party, and talking to a lot of you people, decided that we were going to give Cindy a little bit of money help as she finished out her election. So we gave her a few $1,000s. There's plenty of people in this room that helped vote for that. And it helped her get over the top. She got over 70% of the vote and won. But the deal is that dark money people were lying. They put up a strong candidate. The guy never had one meeting, never bought one sign, never did anything. It was totally a fake election from their side. Our side, we got Cindy Byrd elected, and that happens. I try not to endorse anybody in primaries. We just had a primary with Gloria, who's in here, and Marissa Tree. Oklahoma County stayed completely out of that because you had two really, really solid Republicans. But when we get in these primaries, I believe we should do our dead level best to stay out of them. But you want to stay away from the folks like, we don't want to let the Ralph Shorties happen, and I can name other names, that show up in primaries and want to run, and they get dark money, and they got a candidate that can't raise that much money, and they get buried in the process. We saw it happen in two counties, not two counties, in two races in this last cycle, where dark money, and it was two Republicans, one had dark money and one didn't. And guess who won? The dark money guy. And we did not endorse him. And I won't endorse him. And we endorsed the other candidate. And we try to do that. And that's what we want to do, because we have to be smarter than that as Republicans. And by the way, when we're talking about, we vet those candidates, yes we do, but you know why we vet them? It's so we can send them to candidate forums. And they go to candidate forums just like we did the Chili Challenge at the air park out there in Sundance. And the governor came, and his wife came, and they were out there all night. And so did Eric Roberts, and I can name you the rest of them. And Nathan Dahlman's been out there, and candidate after candidate after candidate. They get to spend a whole evening in a casual environment, and the people come out and quiz and quiz and quiz and ask questions. That's the purpose of those candidate forums, is to give the candidates out there. Willard Lindsay was out there. So we give our candidates a big forum, a big place to come and sit in a casual environment and answer all the questions that people want to ask them. That's what they're for. And we had multiples of those last year. And we'll continue in the future to have multiples of those. Because it's important for all the same reasons that we all want. We want to be able to ask our candidates solid questions. Just like you can ask me solid questions. You can call me anytime at the office. I'll answer my phone anywhere I'm at. Well, my wife might argue about that some, but it happens. But we want to be available. But we want to do our jobs. I mean, you elected us for a reason. You didn't elect me to sit in the office up there and be a dummy. I don't think so, anyway. And that's what we do. So we have a right to have our opinions as elected officials and use them to help you make decisions, because sometimes you don't have all the good information that we can give you. And I tried to put those out at least as much as I could through emails and texts and other ways. But anyway, that's how we tried to get all the information out there. And thank you, Christy, for all the help that you gave us. So we do that a lot, and we'll continue to do that a lot. Thank you.
Go ahead, Chris.
And thank you again, Mick, and thank you to Leslie and Vince for putting this on. We have a messaging problem. Pure and simple. We let the media define who we are. We let Democrats define who we are. And we let people see us roll over. Our message is simple. Family values, smaller government, economic opportunity. I can go to any group in Oklahoma County with those three things, and I can convince them that they're a Republican. Everybody, well, there's a little district in Paseo that might argue with me there. Everybody, for the most part, in Oklahoma County has good family values. They love the children. They love their grandchildren. They want to see them do well. Everybody in Oklahoma County, for the most part, wants their taxes to go down, want government to be efficient, want things done right. Everybody in the county wants economic opportunity. There is not a group there's not a community in this county that I don't want to see succeed. I want everybody to succeed. We as Republicans want everybody to succeed. We should be able to go out and message that. We've talked about name calling a little bit, and it's got to stop. We're not going to win elections when we're fighting amongst ourselves. Our enemy is out there. They've got D's after their names on the ballot. We have got to keep Democrats from being elected. Now, there's been a little bit of talk about how candidates are vetted and all that. And, you know, I'm fine with having conversations with candidates and finding out who they are. But I've got to get them out in front of people. We have a county committee in the state rules for a reason. I don't know how much money you raised, Ken, but you haven't called a county committee meeting.
You know what? Can I answer that?
No,
I can't. I'll answer it later.
You haven't called a county committee meeting. A county committee meeting is a very specific meeting, and they are the supreme authority in the Republican Party, according to the state rules. You haven't done it. You've spent a bunch of money without the authorization of the county committee. Now, I understand it's expedient, and I understand having 400 to 800 people in a room is a tough deal. We got to do it. You wouldn't let the state get away with it. We have to follow the rules.
I'm going to go ahead and let you speak, but then I'm going to give you all a minute to rebuttal back, because I think it's only fair that if you say you should be able to respond to that. So
Go ahead, Kathy, I'll let you, well, you know what, Ken, go ahead, I'm gonna let you rebuttal back for a minute, because I think that's only fair, I'm sorry.
It's all right.
I think just as if they said something to you, you should be able to
I agree.
respond back.
I agree.
Well, first of all, I know the rules. Second of all, we've called 2 large county meetings in the last year, and one year, and a big one before that. But I also just want to say this. I know what the rules are, and I know what it says about a county committee. But I also know, because I went back and quizzed several county chairs and people that have been in this party a lot longer than I have, there has not been a county committee held in this county in over 20 years. Over 20 years.
Excuse
And I have no problem.
Excuse me.
Wait, not from.
And I have no
the
problem
audience.
with calling a county committee after we get through the state convention. No problem whatsoever, and we will do that. We've already talked, I've talked to some of the people, and we're talking dates already, so it's not something we're not going to do. That's it.
Okay. All right, go ahead, Kathy, I'm gonna let you have your closing time.
Okay. The vice chair is a supporting role, and it's also a role that I think we have to add to the strengths of our chairman, and through the group that we've got currently in the leadership, we have a very good group of people that are going to concentrate on precinct training. Claire Kennedy does a fabulous job, and she's just getting started. So we are focusing on that this coming year. The second thing we're going to do is strengthen the candidate vetting and training, because we can throw all the money in the world at candidates, but if we don't help them, we don't vet them and make sure we're behind them, first and foremost. Secondly, if we don't train them, get them some training, give them a plan, then all the money in the world isn't going to get them elected. So it goes right back to the infrastructure. We've got to do those things. And we talked about the supporting staff. I can't say enough about the supporting staff. To get the phone answered, to get the data kept up, to get the press releases out. It goes on and on and on. And believe it or not, this is a full-time job. I have been working full-time, free, for months, all right? As has Ken and everybody else. This is not a part-time job. It is not an easy, job that you're going to step into an hour or two a month. So anybody that's serving really needs to be appreciated for that, because, and I'm not talking about me, I'm talking about everybody. It is a very big job. I have a lot of business background. I've done payrolls. I've had 40, 50 employees. I've run, an Angus business. I had a natural gas company. I'm a certified financial planner. I have a very broad background that I bring to the county. And it's experience, that we really need. And it's not just my experience. It's the experience. Ralph has a lot of time at the Capitol, spending day after day there, figuring out what's going on with the legislators, getting to know them, knowing the bills. I mean, we have a very good working committee, but it takes a lot of work and a lot of time, because when this administration came in, and I wasn't part of it, they got given basically what amounted to a closet, without money, without data. I mean, how do you run a county? So, I think that the one thing that I want to say, and the one thing that I've learned, and I've spent 3 years looking at everything, is we have to stand up. It's time. It is past time for everybody in this county to stand up. We are on the verge of turning entirely away from our values because of the voting. And only 50.4% of the people in our county voted. 222,000 people voted for the governor. okay? That was only half of the voters in the state, in our county, sorry. So, you know, if we aren't willing to get involved, you know, and we aren't willing to stand up for what we really believe in, we will lose the values that Oklahoma, you know, has been built on.
Folks, I'm a Christian and I'm a conservative. I've spent my time as a Republican on the doors, meeting the people, we the people, and I've been having those conversations and seeing what they want to see in their leaders and what they want to see in the Republican Party. And I'd have to disagree that the vice chair is a supporting role. The vice chair is a leading role in this county. And I believe when I needed data from the county party before this administration and during this administration, I was always able to get data. So I would like to not discredit anyone who came before. I think we respect the leaders of before, and we continue to respect all of our leaders. Thank you.
Sorry, it took me a moment to go through. There was a lot of great questions, and I know we're doing this a little out of order, but, you know, that's how I roll, is out of order. So I do want to, I had to pick out, I wanted to pick out some questions from the audience. And I guess I'm one of those Republicans who don't follow the rules. Probably. Okay, so. Right. And there is a packet of rules up here, and I was like, oh, dear Lord, I don't know if I can memorize those all by the beginning. But anyhow, we'll muddle through. Okay, so I do want to ask a couple questions by the audience, and we'll ask, you'll have 2 minutes each, and we'll rotate, and then the candidates will be able to walk around and talk with people and engage with you, and I appreciate everybody allowing us to have this opportunity. Okay, Ken, I'm going to ask you, I'm going to start with you. This question is from the audience. When I attended my precinct meeting, the precincts were not well attended. In fact, some precincts were not filled. What will you do to energize the precincts and increase participation and turnout?
Well, one, we will have precinct meetings, large precinct meetings again like we did before, where we will do training at the precinct meeting, which will be Claire Kennedy's job, or one of her jobs, and there'll be other people helping her. And we'll call a big meeting, and we'll have it at Higher Plain or at other churches where we can gather and get together that many people. Because Chris is right for one thing. When you're putting that many, you're putting all the precincts together and everybody, it requires a large room, and those aren't free, and among other things. But so that's what we'll do. We got more training. Look, we did voter gravity training for over a year. And we had people in every Tuesday in our office, or every other Tuesday in our office, going through voter gravity training. And Claire did it, and Barbara Scarper did it, and others. So we trained a lot of people. So for anybody to say that we didn't train people on precinct, we did. We trained a lot of people. Do we have to do more? Yes, we do. And we have to do it now, and we can't wait. It's going to be one of Claire's jobs when we take this administration, we come back. We have to absolutely do more precinct training and get more of that done. And we're going to change how we do it. We're also going to change the authority that precinct chairs and precinct vice chairs have. That's kind of been put down in the past. That was just something they did every 2 years. And we're not going to do that. We want them active every day. We want you knocking on neighborhood doors. We want you recruiting your neighborhoods. And that's what we have to do all day, every day. It's got to be a big part of what we do.
Christine,
No, and Ken's absolutely right. We have got to get our precinct chairs and vice chairs and the youth coordinators and the senior coordinators and everybody that's signed up at our precinct meetings to get out there and get things done. You know, none of us can do things by ourselves. It literally takes an army of people to get 170 100,000 Republicans motivated to go out and vote every time. One thing that we can do to do that is make sure that we have county committee meetings. That's the chairs and the vice chairs of every precinct. If we've got a precinct, we don't have somebody, we need to download the voter list, need to get it out to people and see who we know. Make sure that we know, everybody knows that when the precinct meetings are. We've got people that have talked to me since the precinct meetings. Says, I had no idea we had a precinct meeting. I had no idea where my precinct is. We've got to educate everybody. You know, the people that show up are going to be the people that make the decisions. We need more people showing up.
When I first went to the county, first thing I said was I want to be in the precinct. Okay, why? Because I heard it. I heard it on the radio. I never even heard of a precinct. So I went in and Ken appointed me as a chairman because there wasn't one where I lived. I live in Oakdale. I said, okay, well, what do I do? I mean, how do I go about this? At that time, Claire was not part of our group, so we realized quickly how much we needed someone like that. But what I found out was, the data is not readily available. If you take on the precinct, we didn't have emails, so I had to use my own money along with Emily, who was my co-chair, to print and mail and to 1,000 people in our precinct in order to get enough people to start a precinct meeting. So it's not easy. What we've talked about since then is how can we fund a precinct? Well, the way we fund it is by raising money in the county. And then so we have made that a goal this year to start funding with at least money for stamps. At least give them some money so that they can rent a place to have a meeting. A lot of people don't have a place big enough, So my own experience with precincts is, believe me, it's not easy, and we're trying very hard to get precinct chairman and vice chairman, but you got to have some data.
The great thing about this question is, yes, it's a problem, but it's a problem with a solution. As a party, we have access to the GOP data center, which has the address of everyone in a precinct that's a registered Republican. There's phone numbers, and we can give that information to precinct chairs so they can call up every voter in their precinct. I've done it before on campaigns. It can be done. We just need to put in the hard work, and I'm not scared of a little hard work.
Okay. Chris, what have you done to educate and empower the grassroots?
In Canadian County, when I was over there, I was state committeeman in Canadian County, and we had some issues where we had some people running people off from the county party. They didn't want to participate anymore. They didn't feel welcome. We got that taken care of. We got the Canadian County Party back on track. And yes, Canadian County is a little bit smaller and it's a little bit easier to handle, and you can do things a little more casually. I see the same problem here. We're running people off that have valuable skills that can help us out because we don't think enough of it. Everybody should have a voice in the Republican Party. Everybody. We cannot lose sight of that. If I can get people excited to come to things, and I can get people excited, give us some money, thank them, be good to them, don't run people down, I'm gonna have a real good chance of getting them back. If I can get them back, I can get them involved, and that's how we're going to win elections.
State the question again.
What have you done to educate and empower the grassroots?
Okay, that's good. Well, as we've said before, and I want to say something real quick. When we took over the office in 2021, John Elliott did give us some money, so I want to clear that out, John. We were not broke. I just want to make sure that that's understood. Okay. When we brought Claire Kennett, we found out about voter gravity, but Porter Davis is in here somewhere. And Porter and I and others went through it. I won't mention all the names. A lot of us looked at this system, voter gravity. It was inexpensive, which was a criteria that we had. There's plenty of things out there that you can buy that are very expensive. They're very good, but they're very expensive. And we weren't in a position to do that back then in the first. So we went with voter gravity. Claire Kennedy got trained, Galen got trained, Barbara Scarper got trained. A lot of us got trained on how to use voter gravity, and it works. And we have to do a better job. And Jake, I'm going to argue with you a little bit. The database that comes in from the RNC is not the perfect database. It has lots of troubles, and we all know that, and you can work through it just like you said. But it is time consuming. We've got to keep these databases cleaned up, and we need the data entry people. We've got to do a better job of doing that so we have a better way to inform them, a better way to message to them. And there's a lot of bad things. The state election board is not helpful, nor is the county election board, because they don't clean their rolls up. Used to, coroners, when somebody passed, the mortuary sent word to the county that this person had died. And that's one of the ways they kept the rolls clean. They don't do that anymore. So it's up to us, it's up to all of us to find ways to clean these things up. And it's very time consuming, but it's very worthwhile because, as Chris just talked about, and me too, we've got to get the messages out there. We've got to get more people involved and get out the vote. The other thing we got to quit doing is we know what the Democrats do. And some of what they do in terms of how they do things is not illegal. Why don't we do that? Because we're stupid. In some respect, we've got to start doing some of the things they do legally, which will help us get out the vote. So that's just some of the things we got to do. And I'm with Chris. I can't use the word D very well. So it's a cuss word to me, but we'll let that go. But that's what we have to do. I'm done.
Go ahead, Jay.
I've supported the grassroots by going into the communities. I've spent a lot of time recently on college campuses and in Asian communities, talking to them about conservative principles. There's a lot more conservatives than we think. They're just not registered Republican yet.
That's right.
We are going to do a great job getting these people, the best job, getting these people registered as Republicans, and that's how we are going to support the grassroots as a party. Thank you.
Well, how I've done it is become a precinct manager, start my own, and then become House District Chair, which I have 17 precincts under me. So, it's a very difficult job, I can tell you, because it's very hard to find these people when you don't have an email and you don't have a phone number, okay? So, it's word of mouth, it's long. We hold meetings trying to make them fun. We have a meet and greet so that people will come, and maybe we bring some wine or dessert or something. And we have been able to bring in some candidates, mayoral candidates, the education candidates. So you just have to find what works in your area. And then, ask for help, because there are a lot of people out that do know something about this, and they will help. But again, it's time consuming, and you have to be really dedicated to get this done.
Okay, last question. And Ken is going to start with you because we're rotating here. I thought this was an interesting statement. The GOP works hard each convention to define and fine-tune our platform. It is the heart and soul of being a Republican. How important is it for GOP candidates and elected officials to adhere to our platform? Specifically, what percentage of the platform can be ignored and still be a real Republican?
Well, if you ask me that question, what you just did, I'll tell you 0. Because it's very important to us as a county, and this just didn't start with me, it's other one even before me. It's always been very important that these candidates adhere to our platform. Because we had candidates that tried to find ways to get around the abortion issue. Okay? They didn't want babies killed, but if it was rape or incest, that was okay. And those are tough issues that we've had to deal with. And those are always going to be tough issues. But that pamphlet, and the reason it was put together by a lot of people in this room, Evelyn, you're back there, which had some to do with this, is that it's important to us as Republicans that they adhere to those. Those are that's our platform. Those are our principles that we stand on. And we don't need to waver from those principles. Because if you want to waver from it, go be a Democrat, or go be an independent, or go be whatever it is you want to go be. But you're not going to be a Republican in this county if you don't adhere to those policies. And the same with candidates. I mean, we're going to hold their feet to the fire, 100%.
I understand where Ken's coming from. I wish everybody in the county believed exactly what was in that pamphlet. There's some people that have some issues with it. You know what? They have voice too. I would love for us to walk in lockstep and all think the same and all that, but then we'd be Democrats. Okay? We have diversity of thought. We have diversity of, some things may be important to you that aren't important to you. And that's fine. Everybody's got something that they're just absolutely passionate about, and then other things that they're not so passionate about. Okay? We all do it. There are none of us that are perfect. We have got to make sure that our voters know what our candidates stand for. They're well informed, well ahead of time, well ahead of the primary, and they vote who we are. They are the Republican Party. The leadership is not the Republican Party. Says so in the state law. The registered voters of Oklahoma County are the Oklahoma County Republican Party. When they make a choice, we've got to give them all the best information, but they've got to make a choice. That is their choice, and that is their right as Americans.
Mick, would you repeat
You bet.
the base question?
How important is it for GOP candidates and elected officials to adhere to our platform? Specifically, what percentage of the platform can be ignored and still be a real Republican?
Well, okay. Now, the platform, I don't know how many of you know that we have listed, the basic things that a Republican stands for. I mean, you can be a Democrat, you can be an independent, you could be a libertarian, but if you really are a conservative Republican under the Republican Party, you've got to have some things that you just agree on, okay? And so do we agree that the Constitution is the rule of law? Okay. How about a free market economy? Do we agree that proper role of government is to be a small government?
Yes.
Okay. What about God and government?
Yes.
I mean, I can go down this, and I'm just saying, what are we supposed to be disagreeing about? We have to have a platform, and that most of us agree to. And if you don't agree, maybe you're a libertarian. Maybe you don't want to be conservative. But I still think that I personally think we need to have a platform and we need to adhere to it. And what percentage? All of it.
I agree. It is extremely important that we agree on the conservative values of this platform. Everyone comes from different experiences, and if you have one different agreement on the wording of a platform, that's why we have rule changes. And that's why we go to convention to change sometimes the wording of something. So I think it's more important that our candidates agree with our conservative values and not the wording, because no wording is going to be perfect. The only wording that is perfect is the words written down in the Bible. No word written by man and by a party is going to be perfect. So if they agree with us on the values and the principles, that's what's important to me, not words on a page.
Okay, I'm going to give everybody 1 minute to close your closing statement. Tell everybody who you are, where we can find you, where we can donate. No, that's wrong. Sorry. Forgive me. Okay, one minute.
All donations go to John Elliott.
Oh, I was
And
thinking they
the jail
came to
term
me,
also,
then
so.
never mind.
Excellent.
Okay.
I bet you've been allowed a few questions from the floor.
I did. That's what those were. That's what these were. Yeah, everybody got to write in. That's what I was asking. Okay. Go ahead. We'll do a 1 minute close, and then the candidates will be able to engage with people. Go ahead, Ken.
Okay, well, again, thank all of you for being here. It's important that you're here. It shows that you care. It shows that you are we the people, that you are good Republicans, and we're glad you're here. Thank you again for doing this. It's important. It helps us get the word out. It lets people know who we are, because in this particular case, we are the candidates, and you are we the people. So that's why that's important. So thank you for that. Thank you for being here. I'm Ken Warner. I'm a father, a grandfather, Army veteran. I'm a constitutional conservative, and I believe the Constitution has to be interpreted just as it was written. We don't need another justice. We don't need anybody. It's the Constitution. It was set in place by God, and we stand by it. And that's who I am. I'm a God-fearing, got a great wife. Stand for my grandkids. I stand for my kids, and I care about this county. And I firmly believe, just like we said, I know some of you don't watch War Room, and I know some of you don't watch Bannon, and that's okay. That's why we have independent thought, okay? But this county is being mentioned on national television, national radio every day right now, every day. And that's important. People are calling me right now, wanting to know how we got Bannon and...
Ken.
We did shut up.
Yeah. We're done.
Bannon didn't ask me to shut up, but it's important.
We're done.
Well, it's hard for people like us to talk for 1 minute.
I know.
Sorry.
Go ahead. Take your time.
No, we're good. My name's Chris Martin. I hope that tonight I could earn your support. We are at a crossroads in this country. We have people that are just absolutely sick and demented, trying to take things away from our kids. We've got things going on nationally, internationally, and in this county that are just wrong. The only way we're going to change it is to get more people engaged. Make sure they know what's going on, and make sure that they get out and vote Republican. Again, my name is Chris Martin, and I appreciate your support.
I'm Kathy Connor, and I'm running for the vice chair, which I said before, I believe is a very supportive role for the chairman. But we have a lot of goals that the county is trying to achieve this year. We've outlined them. We're ready to go forward with them. And I would like everyone to continue to support our platform and vote for us. Thank you.
I'm a Christian, I'm a conservative, and I'm a lifelong Oklahoman. I know this is a conservative county, but that's not showing up in the election results. We need a change, and we need to get this county on the right direction. Thank you all for coming out tonight. It's been a great evening. I think we had a fantastic conversation, and God bless America.
Jake, what's your name?
I'm Jake.
Just in case anybody, you should have gotten a little flyer at the door for Americans for America, March the 17th, we're out of February, March the 17th. It's going to be here, and it's going to start at 6 p.m., and it's going to be Brad Stein, God's comic, and there's going to be food and fun and silent auction and door prizes and green beer, and you can be a sponsor, you can get a vendor table, right? So please, make sure you go to Eventbrite, get your ticket. If you did not get a card, make sure you get one of those cards. Okay.